Hello everyone, I'm Silent Death, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Science Harder Campaign. To start out with today, we have a new Kerbal. Francis Wigington has joined the ranks of the Kerbal Knights. He is an engineer with low stupidity and about average courage. If you want to join the ranks of the Kerbal, leave a comment below. If you have a preference, you can also tell me what profession you would wish to be, pilot, engineer, or scientist, though that may involve you getting a middle initial like a Toys in Grandfear. Being that Francis has decided to join us, he and Bob are going to head out to Minmus in the Minmus taxi. It contains 2 Minmus return vehicles, each of which has about 500 Delta V, thus is capable of getting from orbit of Minmus to Kerbin, and has a heat shield and parachutes to survive re-entry. The return vessels themselves are not very expensive, at only about 12,000 Kerbal bucks for 2 people. Enough life support to last a few hundred days, though some of that will probably be dumped into the station while they are docked to kind of extend the station's life support. It also has a little bit of RCS for docking and docking ports on the top and bottom. This is intended to dock to our Minmus base, and from there we will have a scientist such as Bob take the science that the Minmus base collects and put it in the 2 lander cans, and then have someone fly back with the science, some form of scientist fly back, so they get the full science bonus from that. Now that we're in orbit, let's deploy the solar panels. Get rid of the aerodynamic nose cone. And set up our approach to Minmus, which is way over here. So that's going to want us to have a thing at the ascending node. And then we'll just about 950, I think. Now we'll just orbit a few times. Moon is getting in the way. There we go. That's 5 days. Then we can probably adjust it from here. Wish there was a way to make this go even faster. Days. Going to be quite a wait up here in orbit, but we want to save as much fuel as possible. Okay, so our periapses, that's pretty good, 100,000. Probably have to tweak it a little bit, but we'll save that for now and we'll come back to this. Okay, that can't be right. That is quite likely not correct. No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes might be right. I suppose that might be correct. Yeah. I think it's taking into account the staging. I'm hoping it is, so we'll just set up an alarm for 2 minutes before. And looks like solar base is about to pop out. So let's go check on that. The solar base is finally in solar orbit, which completes our contract. 342,000 Kerbal bucks, and the all-important 13 science. Not too shabby. So now we will just set an orbit. I think this way might work. Maybe. You would think it would. How much Delta V do we have? Okay. Still no encounter. In the right inclination, I think. Can we target? I bet that's what I need to do. Let's set you as our target. So where is our closest approach? It doesn't tell us. Why? Are we just not getting that close at all? Okay, here's our closest approach. Operation 84 million? That's almost in the sphere of influence. So Kerbal would be there. So we actually maybe need to slow down then. Way over there. Let's change this. Let's zero everything out. Let's approach way over there. Alright, let me fiddle with this and fast forward. A small burn to get us back in Kerbin's sphere of influence. A very small one. Stabilize it a little bit. I don't really like that. Okay, that's not stable. Alright. We have no idea how to do this. Turn that off. I could try warping to the encounter and see if that works. I guess it's worth a shot. Okay, now we are apparently inside, so we'll just burn retrograde till our periapsis is down low enough. 4,000,000. 132 might be a little bit high or a little bit low. If you recall, this vessel does not have any heat shielding. So we're going to have to send the space plane or something up to offload the crew and leave this in orbit. We also are kind of low on our food. Quite low on our food, in fact. We went a little bit too far. We only have 27 days of food remaining. And the periapsis is in 5 days? This says 21 days. So I'm not sure where the 5 days is coming in. There we are. 35 is probably good enough. I don't know why it says 5 days. What do you say? Yeah, you say 21 days. So that is what we'll do. We'll maybe try to capture them or offload them right at the periapsis. Or well, shortly after periapsis, we do have enough to circularize our burn at around 100 kilometers, we hope. Now then, let's head off to Minmus. Okay, Seaman and Jimby, first thing we're going to do is create alarm for you two. The International Space Station rotates crew every 6 months. So what we're going to do is rotate our crew from our stations, or at least our Kerbal stations, about every half a year, half a Kerbal year. Which I think is 210-ish days. I'm too lazy to look it up. But it's about that. There we go. Now then, I've set up a custom waypoint right here on the equator. And let's see, I can't even see this. Which means you probably can't either. In this area, this flatland area here, which does not have a flag, so presumably we have not been there yet. Possibly we haven't been here either, but I'm not entirely sure that we could get on the equator there. And we've also got a whole bunch of missions around here, some of them in places that we need science from. What I'm planning on doing first is landing this right on the equator, because we do have a contract for a base on Minmus. This one is worth 123,000. So let's take care of that. Turn on trajectories. And we want to see how close we can hit that mark. Okay, that's a little bit off, isn't it? Alright, we may have to get the equatorial part right first. And then we'll try to get the other part right. A little bit this way. Really see the icon? Okay, there it is. That's pretty close. We'll say that's probably about as close as we're going to get it from this point. It's not that much of a burn. I think we can pull it off. So an hour until our burn, and it's only a 14.5 second thing. Okay, are we out of power or something? Nope, you're just really hard to turn. Okay. Of course you are. You have all the extra fuel on you. A little bit more here. And then let's go ahead and do the burn. Once we get there, use the warp trick to stop our motion. And we're almost there. At least we won't have to move the base around a whole lot. Okay, then we'll warp a little bit more. 20 seconds. 10. And right up on that. 1, and burn. What is our thrust weight, actually? We don't know what it's going to be on the surface. What's our acceleration? Only 1.5 meters per second. That's not great. Okay, still burning. And that's going to be good enough. All right. Not quite right, but maybe it is. We'll see when we get closer. Let's put another thing here, just as a kind of an alarm. And fast forward a little bit. There we go. That is looking a lot better. Looks like we may need to go down a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, and if we put... we will just... let's see, what would that be? Radial out? Radial out and retrograde? Well, we can always adjust it. You don't have to be absolutely perfect. Do need to land somewhere like right about here. And how long? 152 meters per second. That'll take us a couple minutes to burn. That is apparently off, or is it? Yeah, that's right. Okay, our horizontal velocity is not very high, but it's high enough to matter. Enough that we need to add about 30 seconds to our suicide burn distance. Impact time 5 minutes. Trying to rotate this thing slowly. Don't want to use up any RCS for this. Come on, you can do it. And freeze. Suicide burn, suicide burn. Time? It's altitude. Impact time. Okay, I think we're probably about where we need to be to start burning. Old retrograde. And apparently we're getting some science. EVA report. We're over the Great Flats. Have not been there. Get the EVA report later though. Okay. Still burning. Let's do a little bit of time warping. What's our altitude? Our suicide burn distance is still dropping. Horizontal speed is dropping too. Hopefully we can recover from this. We are in surface mode now. Let's get rid of that. Okay, I think we may just barely pull this off. Suicide burn distance is low enough that we can probably cut our thrust a little bit. And we don't have any landing gear, so we're just going to have to do our best. Probably keep an eye on these two. We want to burn when we get about 50 meters. Maybe a little bit because it's a pretty tall rocket. I think it counts from the control point. Start burning now. Just take a little bit of the thrust off. Okay, X. Make sure that we switch this to that. And now then we just need to hold. Please don't fall over. Please don't fall over. Please don't fall over. Okay, and there goes our contract. Thank you very much for playing. 7-hole science. So we can delete that. Now that we've landed, we need to do some science. If I can remember what hotkey it is. I'm going to guess that it's brakes. And it is, in fact, brakes. So we want material study, a crew report, a seismic scan, another seismic scan, a temperature scan, a mystery goo, another mystery goo. Not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one, and how many material studies do we have? I think we want one more. Keep that data. And we'll want to EVA. Just don't fall over. It seems to be holding out, as long as we still have power. Which we do. Okay, good. So apparently, let's see, yeah, we need EVA report and a surface sample. So you can hop out. Grab an EVA report. Keep that data. Store it in here. Come down over here. Grab an EVA report and a surface sample. Just ice with occasional snowflakes here and there. You think you could drill some holes and play golf. Space golf, of course. Alright, what is this? Plant a flag. The Great Flats. I can't spell. Jealous? Jealous? Jealous. That doesn't look right. Jealous of the Greater Flats. Of course they are. I would be. Now then, we need to drop off our surface sample and grab another one. A little bit overzealous there. Grab again. Store experiments. Maybe if we land right here, we could. We missed it. Don't hit the solar panels, please. We need those. Oops. Yep, I could have done that. Please don't. Ah, you bastard. You bastard. You and your big head. We let you plant a flag and everything. Okay, go ahead and take another surface sample. Says the same thing. And then you're going to go up into the lander without breaking the solar panels would be nice. Grab. Board. Okay. I think we probably want to fast forward until daylight. So that is what we'll do. Okay, Cinnamon has collected all of the science and processed the various things that need processed, clean the experiments, that stuff. So he is ready to move on. We've set a waypoint to another contract thing on the surface over in that direction. So we're going to decouple the lander. And send it off. 70.4 or 74.3. Climb a little bit. And let's see, make sure that we don't overshoot, which we have. A lot. Just do a little bit retrograde then. Hard to see what that is. And that's probably close enough for now. How long do we have until we get there? 9 minutes is not very long. So I guess we're going to go ahead and go straight for that. And wait until that lands before we go back to the base. Go ahead and get our gear out. We are coming up on our waypoint. Trying not to overshoot it. So what's our vertical speed? Not very high. Direction. Might have gone a little bit too aggressive in the slowing down part, but we'll see. We may have to do a little bit more of a hop. We could just let ourselves glide a little bit more. We don't know how close we need to be, but it's not flashing yet. So probably pretty close. I'm expecting within 500 meters. If it's not flashing already. Can't go any faster. Can we do it this way? And then we'll get ready to stop. We'll save our solar panels. Speed, impact time, yeah, we have plenty of that. We're going to be close. Little light touchdown here. And that's a pretty good job. So brakes again. We've already gotten science from this area, so no need to do it again. Now then, let's head back to the station. Let you sit here. And now then, it is the base's turn to lift off. I think we'll just try going straight for an orbit and then align ourselves. Because that'll probably be easiest. And apparently this does not have a Kerbal engineer thing on it. We'll have to bring an engineer out, which we are. We have Francis on his way, so that'll solve that problem. Might make it difficult to get a perfect orbit without that information. Probably make it very difficult too. But we'll do what we can. So what is our apoapsis? A little bit higher would be good. I don't want to crash into those mountains. I think we can probably hold here. Probably something like 20-ish kilometers for an orbit. Wouldn't be terrible. Maybe a little bit too slow, but we'll try that to start out with. There we go. And then we'll just go circularize this. Now, after we hit the station orbit, we can do all these contracts while we wait for the Minmus taxi to get its little burn. So right at... that looks about right. 20.2, 20.3. About as good as we're going to get, I think. So you'll just hang out here and basically be a refueler for the other guy. Have to get rid of that debris at some point. Turn off the flags now, I think. Since we're just going to be looking at that, I also want to change the icon for you. Rename vessel, you are a station. There you go. And I think rolling you over, you're facing the sun a little bit better would be good. There we go. Now then, I think it is time for a montage of contract collecting. After all of those missions, we are up to just over 5 million Kerbal bucks and 263.8 science. To give a little bit of variety in the contracts, I've installed the Advanced Progression Contract Pack, which gives us these two. Launch a Kerbal into orbit, specifically it has to be a pilot, or we have to have a pilot. Just in orbit, and then our first satellite. Neither of these pay very well. Total of about 18,000 each. But I've also went and picked up a satellite around Minmus and a satellite around Carbon to help pay for the fuel and everything. And we're going to launch a space plane with the satellite, which should complete all the contracts. For this mission, Rongar Carmen will be flying the Sat Lifter. The satellite contract around Kerbal is for a retrograde orbit, so we have to go in the opposite direction, and I am not entirely certain we're going to have enough fuel to do that. We don't have any RCS or anything on this craft either, so this might be a little bit difficult. The payload, however, is a pretty light and cheap 5,000 Kerbal buck satellite with, I think, something like 3,300 Delta V. So if we can get it close enough into orbit, it should be able to take care of itself while Rungar plummets down to the ground. So let's get up into orbit and see how this goes. Now that we've completed those 2 contracts, we have opened 3 more. Orbit Kerbal for 3 days, perform an EVA in a low orbit, and send a probe to the moon, which we're not going to do right now, I don't think. It doesn't even have to land or reach orbit, it just has to get into an escape trajectory, so it just has to get some kind of encounter with the moon. So that's not terribly bad, but let's go see how we're going to do these 2 contracts. Jeb will be the Kerbal that is going to complete those 2 contracts. In this, the moon station, most of the 2.5 meter tanks are empty in this because we don't have big enough engines to lift that much fuel. They will have to be refueled in orbit. Otherwise, it is pretty much just based on the Minmus base. Pretty much exactly the same as that. So we'll just get this up into orbit, and I'll let Jeb orbit for a little while. It doesn't have the lander on top because of the part limit, so that will also have to be launched separately. Now then, all Jeb needs to do is EVA and get a report. And that completed the mission. We don't even have to return it. So that puts us up to 28 contracts for this episode. EVA in low orbit, satellite in specific orbit of Kerbal, launch a Kerbal into orbit, orbit the first artificial satellite, seismic surveys of Minmus, more seismic surveys, even more seismic surveys, temperature scans, more temperature scans, even more temperature scans. Oh look, a temperature scan. And that is what we have done today. We are up to 4.9 million Kerbal bucks, getting close to enough money to upgrade our launch research thing. These are waiting to be filled, I guess. I hope we have enough thrust with just the 4 engines here to be able to pull that off. I think we will, but we'll have to wait and see. We will refuel this next episode probably, or maybe the episode after that, depending on what else we work on. But we do want to get this to the moon and start doing some missions there to make the rest of the money to upgrade our research and development center. Also, the shorter trip between Kerbin and the moon will allow us to get science faster, so maybe we'll have some new goodies before it is time for our next transfer window. But that is going to be it for this episode. Like if you like, subscribe if you're not, leave a comment if you have anything to say. I do read all the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.